When we do perspective sketches, we need to pick what type of sketch we're going to do. Are we going to do a single vanishing point, or would we do a 2-point vanishing perspective? So if we did 2, then we pick a point. So here's our first point, and we pick a point over here. And all of our lines that go back into the sketch would have to converge on that single point. If you think about a roadway, if we had a roadway here and we made a point right in the middle, and you're looking down a highway and you had a nice gentle slope hill or long distance to look off into, you always notice the road seems to narrow down into a single point or close to a single point. So that's what we're trying to do with these vanishing points on perspective sketches. So you need a good straight edge for this, and you don't worry about making lines that actually go beyond what we're going to be working with. So we're going to be looking at this from the front edge, and we're going to have to work with trying to make our lines. So most of our lines going back are going to be these lines here. So we got a line there, then we know it's going to go back and there, and we will have lines that we end up having to erase. So we don't worry about that so much. This is done to kind of show us another view of our object, so that we can tell what's going on in some of the areas where we can't see it. So we can tell that there's nothing else right here in front of this when we looked at that sketch. So they've kind of given us some outlines here. So they've given us some corners. So if you think about it, this could be an encased of this hole. So if we extended this out and said this little space was cut off, you could put all of it inside of here. Or you could look at that as being this box right here and then go back and add this one on. It's your choice on that. We'll just start here and we'll see what we've got with when we work on this. So I'm going to start over here on this side, and we will go ahead and make lines. Even though we didn't see this line going through, we're going to go ahead and make those lines also. So we want to put our straight edge all the way back to our vanishing point, and we're going to choose this corner right here. So we're going to make that, and they kind of gave us some lines to kind of show us to start, and we're going to make a nice light line across. So there's one of our first lines, and then we can go ahead and make our vertical lines. Our vertical lines will still be vertical. They'll still say just vertical, so I'm going to go ahead and do this line right here, and I'm not real worried about what size we're actually making it. So I'm going to go ahead and act like we're going to try to fit this whole thing inside of this box grid area, rather than making this the size of the box grid and then adding onto it. Let's see if we can get it all to fit inside of there. So this is going to be my top corner there. So now that we've got that, well, let's make a vanishing line off to it. Now notice this is not looking exactly like what we were kind of thinking we were going to have. So we don't, this is not, if we look, this line is not this actual line going back. Sorry, it is that line going back there, but it's not, we don't have anything with the face yet. When we look at this, we're going to have to turn things just a little bit to line this up. So we're going to have this flat in front of us. So one of the things that may make it easier for you if you go ahead and draw this whole shape in the front first before you start making the others. And so we're going to go back over, and I'm going to go ahead and draw that front, just that rectangle. I'll leave a little bit of space over there so we can go back and add that other piece onto the front. So I'm just going to go ahead and draw that rectangle, make this a little easier. So finish off this rectangle. Okay. So we do know this is going to disappear. So we don't have to worry about that right now, but we can go ahead and make it a little lighter so it doesn't cause us confusion. And so now we're going to go ahead and we're also going to draw lines back from every corner, just to help us keep track of where things are going to be at. Should go off from this corner. Can go off and make sure we're matched up with our vanishing point from that corner. So now we've got this front. So this is our front. Typically wouldn't label these, but it helps keep track of it. We're going to go ahead and do that. So now if we look at this, I'm going to go ahead and act like this little side piece is not here. And I'm going to go ahead and sketch out this rectangle on top and just make it totally enclosed. I'm going to do the same thing with this side over here and kind of make it totally enclosed until we get, and then we can add on to it later. So let's look at this first. So we just, on this, it's kind of hard to tell what angle are we actually looking at, how far back is it going to disappear. So unlike our isometrics, we don't have a solid measurement tool to be able to tell how far back this is going. So if this were tilted back a little bit more, we would have a longer plane going back here if it's tilted more up. So it's going to change the perspective of how this actually looks. So in a perspective, we're not so much worried about what the measurement is actually going to look like. I'm going to go ahead and bring this down, even though this is not going to be exactly what it's going to look like. Well, you'll be able to now at least see if we did this block without the little L piece attached to it, there's what we should be looking at. So at this point, it looks to me, especially if we look at this isometric, that this goes about halfway across and halfway across here. Same thing down here. It's one block and looks like it was another block deep. So if I pick about roughly half, now realize longer distances are towards the back, so this little distance, so if we were to say this is just go halfway across, this is vanishing into the background. So the farther we get back, the farther this distance from here to here is actually longer than if we went from here just that far from here to here. So the farther we get back, the longer that distance actually is. So our mark is probably going to look honestly more like it's back here. And then we can just make a vertical line. Just try to go straight up parallel to this line with that. And hit our top corner line. Now it's going to look a little odd at first, but it's the nature of a vanishing sketch, nature of things going into the background. Same thing with this. If we look, it's 1, 2, about 3. It looks like 3 blocks across. Now this we can divide. It's a straight line, horizontal line across the back edge, so we could kind of divide that up in thirds and think about it in thirds and estimate that. So now our line's going to come, we're going to do a vanishing point line to there, and we're going to go ahead and bring that forward, because that should be an edge we can use. So roughly. And now this is going to come out here. So that should be, this should be outline of where this box comes off the side. So now we just need to estimate what our height's going to be. So we're going to bring that up. Still going to look at it straight on. Still just going to look like a little bit of an L shape. And we're going to have to clean this up in just a minute, because it's starting to get a little complicated as far as what's actually going on here. So remember, this we weren't going to see, because that's going to be covered up. So if you want to erase that just a little bit to help you be able to see what's going on, that'll help out a little bit. And this is going to come out from our box. So we can clean this up a little bit, just erase those basic sketching lines inside of there. Make it a little cleaner. And now we need to make that three-dimensional. So we're going to make that vanish into the background. So anywhere that we have now an open corner that is not covered up, so this one we're not going to see that line. We already saw it back there, but we're not going to see it, so we can erase that inside of there. This corner, we are going to see that. Vanishing line going back. We need to be able to use those vanishing lines to finish up our sketch. And then this corner. So now we're going to decide how deep is that actually going to be. Well, it is farther back, so remember we said it would be actually look like a shorter distance because it's farther back. So we're going to go ahead and connect up to that corner. There's our corner line we wanted to connect to. And then we're going to bring it across, and from this line that came off from the corner to pretty much horizontal right across. So I'm going to bring this line horizontally, try to keep it parallel with our other horizontal lines. And that should be it. So now we can erase those out of there. Go ahead and keep this line across here. And then if you'd like, you can kind of lighten these up just by lightly going across. We do want to see those lines. We want to see the process. We want to see what's happening. But one of the other things that you can do is you can go back across all these and darken the lines up that you know you're going to keep now. Now notice on this, there is not a way that we could actually use this as a scale drawing. It would be very difficult to set this up to be a perfect scale drawing. So this is for a different purpose than what our isometrics are. And there's a one-point vanishing sketch.